This is my potter's journal. Today in the pottery we will be making a pot and doing some glazing and telling the story of my two fosters. This is one of them. Okay, let's see what's going on in the studio today. It's always nice to try something new in the studio, like maybe trying to make a pot with a new puppy. Can it be done? Not only a new puppy, well, it's a year old, but I think it was locked into somebody's garage for most of its life, so it's never seen its reflection in a mirror. And this is also the skill to see if I can make a pot while watching a new puppy without even looking at the wheel. So we'll do something I've made hundreds of, the little plates for spoons or rings or glaze testing. And it's nice to have some company in the studio. Do you really need to see me making the pot today? Aren't you more interested if I have the wrong angle for the wheel and the dog? Now, when I went out to the garden and I took the rake across the ground, he thought it was an animal moving across. And then when I ran the shovel to make a furrow, the same thing happened. And what's down there? Hey! Oh, what is down there? What's down there, buddy boy? Okay, so it looks like if I had a wire, we could make a pot with a new puppy on a potter's wheel. So we can make a pot. Now can we glaze a pot? I need to get some summer things done. I've made some lanterns and olive oil dipping plates. But do you remember my first foster, Sam? Do you remember Sam?
Amazing, and Sam just does not know he's not my kind of dog. But he needs a place to stay till his hair grows back. You just don't know, do you? You just don't know. I've been good to you, huh? Oh, all right. Oh, Sam, Ralph always knew when I talked to the camera to just yawn and lay down. But you don't know that.
Yeah, you remember Sam. The end of winter, early spring, that's all I heard in the comments. When you saw the picture of him looking at me, he loves you so much. Well, I picked Sam. I picked Sam because he wasn't my kind of dog. And because it seemed like out of all the dogs at the shelter, he needed a foster the most. He needed a foster the most. He didn't have any hair from here down on his back. He couldn't be adopted out until it grew back. He needed somebody to look after him. And I needed Sam. Sam helped me get over Ralph and determined that, well, I guess I could learn to like another dog again. So Sam, though, was not right for my place. He didn't like my farm. He liked me, but he didn't like my farm. He took off to the neighbor's farm in both directions. But I guess I did instill in him a sense of home. He came back to me. Came back to me twice. I went out the street racing in the truck thinking, oh no, I lost my foster. The ultimate goal was to adopt one. Find a dog I'd like to adopt. They'll never approve me. Okay, to have my own dog. I lost Sam, but but instilled in him a sense of home that he came back. So that, I think, spoke that things were okay here. Okay, I'm using, these are just lanterns, just lanterns, so they're getting, here's the combination. Here's the combination. We're going to use, okay, a glaze accident on the bottom and a blue on the top. I need to get rid of a lot of this accident. I dumped something accidentally in an oatmeal, and then I just put some other glazes in it that I just needed to get rid of. Now these were done with cookie cutters, 4, but on this one, but 3 turned out to be enough. Now Sam, in the end, you kept saying in the comments, he loves you. Well, he endeared himself to me in the end, but he didn't like my farm. And 10 acres, there's no way I can adopt a dog that I'm going to have to walk on a lead. When there's 10 acres for it to run free, and he wanted to see the other farm, but his hair came back. I thought it would be best if he got back to the shelter where people could see him, so he could find a home. And I did my best for him, said all his good points on their Facebook thing, and he had many. That he was 7 years old, and he had already learned good manners and knew how to act in the home, and you know, took to he figured out my version of English fast. But then came an event at the shelter where they had an overnight. People stayed overnight, and they had a let's rent or sell or adopt as many dogs as we can in a short period. So I went to do stuff with that event. Okay, and I've got some smaller ones now, and here's what I used for the shape of the design. These, candles from either, well, this one's Christmas or patio use from the 60s, 70s. They probably still make them the same shape. So Sam and I were separated for, I don't know, about 2 weeks. And when I went to the shelter, he was so glad to see me. He just cried and cried and cried. I'd missed him too. So we had our little reunion in the cage there. I took him to a park to get really good pictures of him, so that somebody would say, "Oh, I want to come and get Sam." They did a live video of me talking about him, and I gave him. Oh, well, there was pizza for. Okay, anybody who took part in the event. Some people stayed overnight and brought sleeping bags. So there was a pizza party. After that, I went in and I gave him a lot of treats. I did leave. I didn't stay overnight. But I did come back the next day. And he was glad to see me again. I took him for a long walk. He was accustomed to his morning walks there. And then going back into his kennel, I had pizza for breakfast left over at the shelter from the night before. And I thought, I realized, even though Ralph was my second Ralph, that Ralph's what I call almost as it's a dog breed, are hard to come by. So I thought, well, this is their event to get dogs either fostered or adopted out. I'll give one a try that might be suited to me in my farm. Okay, yeah, that's the Brutus that we opened the video with. But what I didn't plan for, was leaving Sam. I had brought our pillow from home, and it was in his kennel, and I had to go and get it. And this time, a goodbye was not good enough. He never fought me at the door before. This time, he put his paws around my foot. And he wouldn't let go. He wouldn't let go, I had to push him back into the cage. And I never felt so bad in my life. So I'm home giving the second foster, a test ride. At home on the farm, he loved my place. And this is a dog that I had suspicions might be a foster to adopt, which is their term, not foster fail. That wasn't my idea to begin with. That this was all for selfish reasons for myself, not for the dog so much. But the second dog, with what should have been the happiest time of my life, a new puppy that I can keep if I want, or return if I don't. But all I could think about was Sam. All I could think about was Sam. And how he had his paws around my foot. And I shoved him back in the kennel. So I had Brute off lead in no time. He loved my place. He loved my place. All I could think about was Sam. I mean, Eve is 7 years old. His prospects were almost zero. That, his hair still wasn't completely back. I don't know if it ever will come completely back. That, I even have, Ralph's old senior food. Ralph's old joint medicine. I even still had some of Ralph's fish vitamin stuff that would help his hair come back. How could I possibly adopt him? There's no way. Not when he needs to be locked on a lead. I had Brute was off lead in no time. But and this should have been the happiest time of my life. But all I could think about was Sam. And he was at Hancock County Animal Shelter. This is in West Virginia, just over the state line from me. Their fundraiser weekend. I thought, well, I'll check out their Facebook, see how much money they raised, see how many dogs they adopted out, how they did with all their goals. Looks like they raised some more money, adopted and fostered a few more dogs, and wait. Senior, I called him Sam, found his home today. Congratulations, thank you for adopting. That's my Sam. I can't believe it. He had no prospects. A couple, maybe my age. And another dog. This was even better than I'd hoped for him. And a dog, too. I never saw him look so confident. It must have happened just after I left. I'm glad I wasn't there to get in the way of this family coming together. I will put a link up to making the pet plate with my Ralph and the kiln opening. Maybe some pictures too of Sam here at the end. Stop back for more. Stuff I can see what's going on in the studio next week, and more about my second foster that I adopted, Brute, and his squeakers. You like your squeakers, don't you? You like your squeakers. Okay. You're just a puppy, aren't you? Just a puppy. Just a puppy. Oh, in a pottery, a Brute, in a ceramic shop.